Welcome back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week is no exception. Unity denies being up for sale by not denying anything. ZAD throws Alpha 17 in our face organs. Performance improvements, new maps, but no Space Hitler. Distance beta build 3153 is also live, but why is challenge missing?
Borderlands The Pre-Sequel is finally released. Join us, won't you, on our trip to Space Australia. GitHub makes with the swag, and it's such a good deal that even Pedro can afford it. And Screen Cheat finally rewards you for sucking at GoldenEye, and the game is pretty much what it says on the tin.
Counter-Strike Global Offensive gets a racist update. Wonder what they have against objects rendered in black? NVidia brings PhysX to the Penguin. Just don't expect a miracle performance. Timeslip released the source to his SDL Fallout engine reimplementation. Someone else immediately uploaded it to GitHub.
And that beautiful voice was not Pedro Mateus. It was Sandy Martin, all the way from Canada land in his bunker. He is the entirety of the armed services, and also from Canada, Mr. Huang.
Too many Canadians. Pedro was stricken by the space AIDS.
And space Ebola. Yeah, it was pretty nasty stuff. But before we get started, let's see what's been going on in each other's life organs. You might know that Atlanta is in the running to get some Googs fiber. So, in just what can be only described as a miraculous coincidence, AT&T said, we're putting out gigabit fiber in your city as well. Damn. Two choices. Hard lives this is. How about you, J-Man?
Oh, man, it was great. I got woken up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and was working till about 2. That was fun.
What about you, Sandman?
I finally got a new internet service provider, and it is amazing!
So, did you get Bell or Rogers?
Neither. I'm with a small-time company called Tech Savvy.
Oh, Tech Savvy is good.
Same guys that I'm using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're using either Bell or Rogers' last copper mile.
Yes.
And together with Chat Realm, all this nightmare fuel brought to you live. They help us form a bit of a cocaine Voltron. Before we get started into the news, we got to pay some bills, shit, man.
Yeah. Are you single? Mm-hmm. Do you have life-threatening viral diseases?
Possibly.
You might want to go to EbolaDate.com, our brand new site hosted on HostGator.com. Tell them about it, Ben.
Snappy cares like that. I'm just saying, you come up with these great ideas, Snappy will give you the great hosting packages and deals with unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, one-click script installs, very easy control panel, and check this out. Tech support, man. Anytime. Call them up, and they'll be like, we don't care if you got Ebola. Are you bleeding out of that place? Wow, that's fine with us. Keep on going. And they're going to do it at a fair price, man. $3.96 a month starting off. That's 20% off, J-Man, for your Ebola dating needs.
Well, I shit out my bowels at that proposition, because if you enter our offer code, LinuxGameCast FTW, yeah, look at that. Your epilepsy is triggering right now, and while you're foaming at the mouth, you can get 25% off that deal. That's pretty good.
That is amazing.
Brilliant. But I think the horse has survived this latest outbreak.
No, you know what? The horse looks like it's been spending some time in the Space Australian outback. It's our Steam
Mix
update
of the week. Borderlands The Pre-Sequel. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my god.
Actually, I think this is the first AAA game that was released simultaneously on Windows and Linux.
Fact.
Tell me about it. I've heard of it.
That's kind of awesome. Well, we're going to be throwing some chairs at this game a little later, but the short rundown is that it's Borderlands in space! Yeah, and that's pretty much it. If you play Borderlands 2, you might not be in for anything particularly new, but we'll get to that. But to be fair, like I said, first AAA game out of the out of the running on Linux day one. And it worked pretty well.
Yep, take with that sticker shock, 59.99 watt stickies, 29.99 for the downloadable content. Your wallet will bleed when you buy all that. OS, SteamOS, Ubuntu 14.04. You need 4 megajoules of RAM. And NVIDIA GeForce 260. So that's pretty small. You picked it up, didn't you, Sandman?
Oh, hells yes. Picked it up day one as soon as it released.
Sid, actually, you had some interesting experience getting it running on the open source drivers.
Yes,
Apparent.
I did.
But we'll
On
talk
the old
about
SteamOS.
that
Yeah,
when
we'll talk
everything's
about that
sorted
later.
out. Up next, release notes for Counter-Strike Gone Home. That sounds like it might be a little bit strange, but for the Linux, they fixed a bug where many items would be rendered with incorrect lighting, causing them to appear very dark or black, and that's completely racist.
That's racist.
Very. Do you play any of the CS, Jojo?
Jojo?
No? Mm-mm. You don't like that realistic pew pew pew?
No realistic pew pew pew.
He gets
Unless
enough
it's
of that at
Rainbow
work.
Six. If it's Rainbow Six, then I'll be all for it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving along, distance beta build 3153. You should have heard of this if you've ever watched our show. It is true arcade racing for the Linux. You do the flying, you do the parkour, you do the crashing, cutting the cars in half. What does this bring to us? This 4 new challenge modes. Where is challenge contest pisting? Quicker level restarts and a fuck load of bug fixes. It looks brilliant.
I think they actually need to add in the functionality where they fuck your wife before they can include the challenge pitching stuff.
That's right, we'll fuck your wife. Look at this gorgeous business. I mean, this is like the other game on Unity that doesn't look like trash and plays awesome. Just goes to show the power of the engine. When used correctly, you can definitely find that on the Steams.
It's
also
not the tool, it's the tool who
DRM-free.
uses the tool.
Right, and you can pick it up for about 15 wet stinky caches. But yeah, embargo time.
Yeah, no. So if Ben, I know you didn't ever have an N64. I think you only played Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time on that for one of your speedrunning exercises.
Right.
But for those of us who did have an N64 and who did play GoldenEye, one of the things that you had to worry about was fuckers watching your screen and then coming towards you and capping you. This game,
Yes.
that's the core mechanic. Every other player is invisible, and the only way you can find out where they are is to, even if you're on online multiplayer, it does like the 4-way split screen, and you have to watch the other players' screens in order to find out where people are and kill them. Ven didn't really get the concept of it, and that's why I kicked his ass when we were playing it.
I got the concept of it. Immediately, my brain went, nope. This game is going to be huge, and it will destroy friendships. It's all I got.
Oh, absolutely! It is Monopoly for Linux.
Did you play the GoldenEye N64?
Yes, I did. I played that in Perfect Dark back in the day on the N64. And, like, I'm picking this game up next week when cash starts coming in again. Stuff feeding money to the kids.
Maybe we
It's
got an
not
extra key
gonna
for
be
somebody.
up for real until the 21st. So,
Mhm.
Oh, sweet.
so you got some time.
Yes.
You poor Canadian. But that's a little hardcore, isn't it?
No, it's not deadcore, baby.
more like it.
Oh, yeah. I remember this from billions of years ago in the future's past. Deadcore. Platformer, FPS, speedrunning, jumping, shooting, getting killed to death repeatedly. Like almost 2 years ago, they sent us this pre-alpha that they were working on. I believe it was a French company. And man, they've made some progress. This is out now, 9.99 what stinky caches. Basically, you start at, it's got a little bit of a tutorial level. You start at the bottom of the tower, and you got to get all the way to the top. It is shiny if you like the Tron-like graphics. It's running on Unity, so take that for what it is. It ran perfectly well in this box. It's speedrun. I mean, that's what they're going for. They want people to YouTube bait, or whatever you want to call it, and do all of that.
It's a valid marketing strategy.
Yeah. You planning on pew-pewing on that? Sandy?
I already have it.
And have you played it? What do you think?
Oh, well, see, I've started playing it. I didn't
Maybe
get
talk
too-
about the game on the gaming podcast.
You
Maybe.
know what? Maybe I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But so far from what I've played of the game, it's actually not bad. It looks really nice. I need to get further into it before I can have like a full but just off the bat, it looks really nice. And so I'm very impressed with it so far.
Yeah, it
Apparently
might be
this
fun.
game used to be called Deadlock, if I'm reading Pedro's notes correctly.
Yes,
I
it
didn't
originally
research the
was.
story.
And it's actually being published now by Bandai Namco. So
Yeah.
You mean
Namkai Bando or
yeah,
whatever you fucked
Namkai
up.
Bando. That's the one.
That was a fun one. So, did you ever hear the dolphins cry?
Wow, that's my terrible dolphin impression.
So we got a new release date.
There you go.
Right.
But Sandy is closer to dolphins than I am because he likes to read. But anyways, Dolphins Cry, or not Dolphins Cry, Ravens Cry. This is a game that's, you know what? I haven't really given it much look. It looks like
check it out. It's
some
RPG
sort of pirate
adventure,
game.
pirates open world. You run around, you're a pirate.
Fiddle-dee-dee.
You are a pirate. It looks gorgeous, but pre-purchase, don't touch a damn thing. It's $49.99. I think the average review for this so far is it's Assassin's Creed on a budget at Assassin's Creed prices, but it comes with this very interesting feature called third-party DRM.
Yeah, and guess what it does? It limits your ability to install the game to 3 computers, because this is what you want to do on a platform that is trying to spread this whole buy once, play anywhere mentality.
No, man, that family sharing Steam would never do anything. You're full of crazy sauce.
No, what, like streaming? That's completely last year.
It just explodes if you try to stream it. Just installs. Sammy, come on.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm even going to pick that up. If they do that with the DRM, there's just going to be probably no point for me to pick it up.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
And you know, there's perfectly good DRM in Steam that's fairly unobtrusive.
My biggest issue with this right now is the system requirements right now, PC and Mac, and they're like, it's totally coming to Linux, you guys. So
totally super ethereal.
Well, they say it right here, you know, Raven's Cry to be released November, PC, Mac, and SteamOS Linux. Long as it's not, we'll get that port when a volunteer finishes as a hashtag Skullgirls. So, all right. Well, what is this nonsense?
This is Signals of Elohim, and if you don't know your Semitic mythology, good on you. This is from Crow Team. They have their new upcoming game, The Talos Principle. This is sort of a pre-release teaser where you basically solve puzzles, and by going through the game, you actually can unlock stuff for the Talos Principle when that actually comes out. So they have a bunch, and apparently some of the puzzles are fairly challenging, according to the reviews. I have yet to check this out. It is priced to sell at free, so pick that up if you're looking forward to Crow Team's latest endeavor. I know I'm going to spend at least a little time with that because I love Crow Team. They broke my heart with Serious Sam 3, but Serious Sam 1 and 2 were just way too good.
Yeah. Do you like puzzle games, Sandman?
I do like puzzle games, and I'm actually going to check this out after the show tonight. So I'll give that a little try, a little look through, and
force one of your kids to beat it.
Yeah. Well, Odin will probably beat it in no time. It's freaking smart.
TIL about the card. All right. So, do we get anything up?
No, that's the end of Steam news. Coming up next, we find out that if you try and sus yourself and it fails, the best thing you can do is deny. Deny. And now that the horse has retreated back to the Australian outback in space, we come to our non-Steam news section. So, Ven, I heard that your mom is up for sale.
For sale. You know, in the last week, CNET had a bit of an article that said, well, Unity has been shooping itself around. They've had a PowerPoint or whatever type of demonstration they were sending out to companies saying, here, you know, this is what, give us some money. Then they finally addressed this in their form organs, and from Unity Technologies, what's his name?
Joaquim
Ante. Basically comes down to this, for offering access. Sometimes when we talk to our partners, discussions turn to talk of acquisition. But to sum it up, we have no plan to sell Unity. My biggest issue with this is, it's probably not the right place to address something that was on CNET, as in your forums, and B, you didn't answer the question. And what people were saying was that you were actively shopping this around, and you didn't even address that question, so... I don't know. Sounds like a bit of PR speak to me, J-Man. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not sure if there are many companies out there that would want to buy an engine like Unity, just because there are a lot of these game dev companies already have in-house engines. Unity doesn't really get them anything except removing a competitor from the marketplace.
Have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, like, the big thing with... to add on to what Jordan was saying is like the only people who are like really using it are like low income game devs, really, and like a lot of the higher ends aren't really so much using it. But yeah, like I'm not really impressed with how they just went all PR and like just avoided the questions.
Yeah, the other thing is Unity's big strength is its whole cross-platform nonsense, but that's starting to fade now that we have like LeadWorks and Unreal 4 and so on and so forth. I guess if you're still developing stuff for Android and iOS, Unity is still the way to go for reducing the total amount of work you need to do.
It is, and all I'm saying about that is my only issue with that entire reply was it never really answered the question. And hey, I think it's kind of sad where somebody can have a startup that really doesn't do shit and get $1 billion for it. And Unity actually has an engine that they have to be making money off of, and they have a product. It's just kind of weird. I don't know anything. This is all speculation, but what's not
But you know, if the real thing won't do the trick, you gotta make up something quick.
With physics?
Barracuda.
Ooh. Barracuda.
Tell me about it. Never heard of it.
Okay, so this is... Well, realistically, this is... NVIDIA is adding PhysX support to their Linux drivers for their cards.
Awesome. So all my games that use PhysX will now work with the drivers?
Wrong! No, actually, one of the Aspire devs addressed this in a thread regarding Borderlands The Pre-Sequel. Someone had asked, I think it was Ryan from Aspire, if they're planning on making use of the new PhysX functionality available on the Linux NVIDIA stack, and they said that would basically require them to rewrite the entire PhysX engine specifically for the Linux port. So what this means for everyone else is this affects more new games than old games, unless people actually go back and retool their engines to take advantage of this functionality. We're not gonna see any old games that take advantage of PhysX under Linux.
All of our old games are not, but if they want to, we can get we can have 1 billion more boxes exploding, and that's going to be awesome, right?
Yes.
Totally.
Are you excited about it, Soundman?
Well, obviously, like, it is awesome because especially with Unreal, like, the whole Unreal engine, a lot of the game devs that use it rely on the PhysX. And so, like, it's good that they're making steps to bringing PhysX more compatible with Linux. And, yeah, I'm just excited all around.
I should add that this also only affects NVIDIA cards that are using their CUDA architecture and not any of the older 8800 model or 8800 architecture GPUs.
So basically, any card
that would actually probably be everything up till about the GTX 200 series.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Something like that.
Neat sauce. We're living in a moon future. Up next,
Moon future. SDP, which I immediately read as super double penetration, but it's actually the GitHub student developer
show title.
Super double penetration, excellent. But what is this? GitHub, the education branch of GitHub, has decided that they're going to contact all their partners, and they're going to get a bunch of credits and free services to give to students so that they can start programming. They have some free DNS records. They have $100 credit for DigitalOcean if you want to set up a cloud server. They provide you some CI tools, free SSL certificate for 1 year, free domain for 1 year. It's a SendGrid account, mobile payments, all sorts of cool stuff. They even give you a copy of Unreal 4 to fuck around with. All you need to do is log in. I think you need to authenticate with the college or university email address. But beyond that, this puts a lot of good tools in your hands. If you are a developer who's just starting off, this is something you want to look at.
Right. I mean, it's going to get you in the right headspace. It's not going to be the locked-in Microsoft DirectX all the thing environments that.
Yeah, and
we're trying
realistically, it gives you all the tools that you would normally need to develop a large project for free.
So make sure your kids, once you put them in college and you're completely broke, Sandy.
Yes. Duly noted.
Get them on something like that. But can you imagine a world?
I don't think I can, then.
Okay, well, fine. New release ZAD Alpha 17, not even trying to pronounce that. Quirkus. You don't know what it is? It's real-time strategy, and this project has been around for fuck-mothering ever, which is brilliant. Love it.
It's been around since 0 AD.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, performance improvements, scenario and mod design, new maps, and major core combat rebalance. This thing just keeps on ticking, keeps getting better. I remember when it first showed up in my face organ, it wasn't really even playable. There was no server. You had to do direct connects, and now it's turned into really a shining example of what open source can be for a game. Thoughts?
Mm-hmm. No, it's good that this project is marching on. I have no interest in real-time strategy games. I actually turned roommate onto this because he likes 4X style games. He actually liked this one, so there.
Yeah, this game is really good looking. I'm surprised on how much the community has really advanced the game and the engine itself. It's just
isn't this also
phenomenal.
now funded by the U.S. government? Yeah, they were getting some grant for it.
Huh.
Really?
I seem to remember hearing something about that.
Who
knows?
America.
Fuck yeah. That's a bit over.
All right, that's enough of that. It's free. Download it. Donate. Kick them a few shekels. They need it. It's a good project. Love it.
Yes.
But Terminal Overload.
Oh, yes. So, everyone's favorite port of Revenge of the Cat's Ethernet on the fully FOSS.
Why would you ever change such a name that rolls off your tongue like Revenge of the Cat?
Yes. I don't even remember what the fuck I was talking about. Yeah, so they have a new update, 0.03, and they actually set up a Patreon campaign. You can read about that on their webpage, link to which is in the show notes, as are all the links from this show. But what comes with this new release? They got a new map, Eth5, because apparently they named all their levels after interfaces, but no one uses Eth anymore. It's all like P1, P whatever. Anyways, prettier GUI. They have some new jumping mechanics, new movement speeds, disc controls, a whole bunch of stuff. It actually looks like a fairly minor release. But again, this is an open source project that is a fork of another open source project that has been around forever. Ven, I remember you were talking about when you played ROTCE back in the Moon days.
Way back in the old days, in the old times. Tried that
out.
Long before. Brilliant.
Tell us, Grandpa. Tell us.
Dynafire.
Sit on Ben's lap so he can tell us the story.
Right.
Yeah, tell us, Uncle Ben.
Played this about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, and what it is you run around and you have to capture. Fantastically interesting game mechanic. You have your section. The team has to take territorial parts of the map. Kind of Tron inspired. You have a shooty disc, a sleddy thing, but you also have a ethereal form that you can travel in outside of other areas and drop in. You have to play it to go, oh, the biggest problem is there's only been 3 people ever playing it. And unless you have just had moon luck to get in where there were more than 3 people playing it, it's boring as balls. So I'm glad they continue working on this business, and hopefully, eventually, it will get some traction. But Fallout.
So Sandy, did you like Fallout? You a Fallout guy?
Yeah, I love Fallout. Who doesn't, really?
What is it? I've never played it.
Yeah.
Action RPG, which is a lot of fun. You know, it's same style as your Shadowrun
Sandy,
returns.
show notes.
I know.
Look at
I do not
the
read.
show notes.
I do not.
The show notes.
No. So it's a time slip.
While he's stumbling along, check this out. Fallout is gone open source. Look at this business. Fallout for Linux source. I never managed. This comes from time slip. Never managed to think of anything useful to do with this, and since I'm distancing myself from the S-Fall, I might as well drop this off too. Originally, it had a mega link. People said, fuck that noise. And now it's got its own little GitHub page, like J-Man said.
Yes,
that's going to be in our show notes. Currently, right now, you can't really play with it.
STL implementation of the Fallout engine.
Right.
So another one of these like Arx Libertalis or the Open Jedi Knight stuff where you still need the original game content. But this attempts to port Fallout 1 and 2 to STL so that it will run on whatever Moon device you have, including the Raspberry Pi, because that's a thing that people play Fallout on, apparently.
I looked at it and I was like, well, look, there's no makefile. I was like, Vin, why don't you make a make? And the other Vin was like, no.
But remember, you have to use YASM and not NASM.
YASM, baby. That's where it's at, NASM. Boo. But that's going to wrap it up for the news. Coming up next, there's a little game you might have heard of. It's called Borderlands 2, The Pre-Sequel.
I thought we were reviewing a Hello Kitty Island adventure.
We were, but unfortunately they cheaped out right at the end.
We're reviewing Borderlands 2, this pre-sequel from Gearbox, Aspyr, and 2K Space Australia. You can find that at borderlandsthegame.com. It's built on the Willow engine, which is built on the Unreal 3 engine. You can pick it up for 60 wet stinkies or 50 wet stinky space euros. And what is it? It's the game that takes place in between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2, released after Borderlands 2 to make things super fucking confusing. But you go to the moon and you jump around in zero gravity and you collect guns and you make with the pew pew. And if you've played Borderlands 2 or watched our review of Borderlands 2, you basically know what to expect. So let's begin the Chairquisition. Of course, as always, one chair means that it's shit, two chairs means that it's meh, three chairs means that it's pretty good, and four chairs means that it's fucking astounding. So, we also have our categories of doom, or not our categories of doom. Rain, mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off. Let's ride the meat bicycle all the way to the moon. Then does Borderlands the pre-sequel make with the working?
Honestly, it made with the working out of the box without any serious issues. The main one I faced was it detected my Ubuntu 14.04 octo-core dual 770 box of business as Pedro's calculator. I mean, it was like 640 by 480 or 800 by 600 with everything off. And the first experience I want with a game is not being all the way in advanced video options, cutting all the nope to yes. So, going to have to ding it a little bit for that. And let's see, what else do we have? Release dates. Roughly 30% of our audio and video downloads come from Space Australia, and they had region lock on this business. And from now on, because I want to stick up for our brothers who have to watch the show upside down, I'm going to ding it a chair for that, because that's bullshit in 2014. That is for brick and mortar retailers, and they're going away, and that pisses me off. Aspyr did a fantastic job of porting this business. I always say that. How I know this is almost every single show-stopping bug that's in the Windows port is available for Linux. That's not Aspyr's fault. They did a good job with this. So with everything considered, I'm going to give this a 2 chairs with an asteroid. J-Man?
Yeah, it worked out of the box for me. This is the exact same engine as Borderlands 2, so I didn't run into any issues on my Fedora 20 powered 1090T 670 super clocked box of By My Footness here. I didn't actually try it out on the Steam box because that thing has a dead SSD in it, and I still got to get around to replacing it.
And
so,
as
yeah,
for me,
4 chairs.
And as
now
for me,
you can go, Sandy.
Yeah,
Now.
now I can go. Thanks,
Patience,
I know,
young
right?
grasshopper.
I have zero patience. Yeah, but like I ran the game on both my Steam box, which is running the SteamOS, and Ubuntu 14.04. The SteamOS, I got the i7 in there, first gen, and with a NVidia GTX 55.5, and like right out of the box, it worked with the proprietary drivers, and I had zero issues with it. Like, it ran flawlessly, like 60 frames a second. And then when I ran it on my AMD box down here, running Ubuntu 14.04 with the AMD octa-core 8320, like the open source, there was some stuttering with the graphics, but like, you know, it's open source. It's not as, usually it's better, but like, surprisingly enough, FGLRX 1335 actually ran phenomenal, which I was really surprised about. So yeah, I'm giving it a whole 3 chairs.
Mm-hmm. Did you say you had some interesting experience with the Nuvo drivers?
If we had time,
Yes.
we'd talk about it.
Oh, we don't have time to talk about it.
Nope.
All right, so that's 3 chairs for Mixed with the Working. Shiny and Sounds. Ben, sock it to me, baby.
This one's the easy sauce. Check this business out for your face organ right here. It's a reskin of Borderlands 2, and you know what? Borderlands 2 looked okay. No issues with the gun. Again, from the Borderlands 2 review, there was nothing in this that I went, ooh, shiny, that blew off my face organ. And again, from 2 weeks back, I still believe, no matter how heavily modified that Unreal 3 engine is, it's still a bit long in the tooth. So, 3 chairs, didn't mind the sounds. The graphics looked the same as Borderlands 2 for me. J-Man?
Yeah, well, it's the same, more or less same studio, same engine, all sorts of the same stuff as Borderlands 2. So I really don't think there's any... I can say anything here that I didn't say in my review of Borderlands 2, which you should go watch on YouTube at youtube.com/LinuxGameCast. Sure, plug! So I could give that 3 chairs. Because, like I said, the cell shading looks good, the soundtrack is good, and the voice acting is AAA and what we've come to expect from that. So there you go. Sandy!
Yeah, like, the only thing really different is a bunch of the voice actors. And the soundtrack, like, the soundtrack reminds me of Tron Legacy, like, but then it made it even more Tron Legacy when you first go into Moxie's bar, spoiler alert, and you see 2 guys in the DJ booth that look like Daft Punk. I was like, go figure. So, all in all, like, the game still looks great. The soundtrack is awesome. I like this new soundtrack. It's very spacey. And so I'm going to give it a whole 3 chairs.
All right, so that's 3 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Then, I hear they've completely rejiggered the controls for Borderlands The Pre-Sequel. Is that right?
If by rejiggering you mean fix them, hello. I could bind all the things with the EP and Extender G-Series Logitech Gerbil. No issues with that. That's something that I think maybe we didn't get fixed on the Borderlands 2 quite yet. And I did not spend 20 minutes trying to find the right gerbil setting. A little bit of mouth smoothing, cutting it down to about 70. I was a happy boy. So this was definitely an improvement. I'm going to give this 4 chairs for the controls because they did everything I wanted it to, and I could map everything I needed. J-Man.
Oh, absolutely. I was pleasantly surprised when I found out that Borderlands The Pre-Sequel recognizes these buttons on the side of my mouse, the forward and back keys.
Or as Sandy might say, they're Fraris.
The Fraris. No, yeah, also because this was developed in conjunction with the Mac port, the control key does in fact work, and you can bind stuff to it, unlike those filthy Mac users who have to use the control key to right-click. But yeah, no, like Ben said, improvements. They've hammered out the kinks from the control issues for Borderlands, Borderlands 2, and it seems to work fine. One thing I will note, and I've only experienced this in online play, so I'm not sure if I should ding it from controls. I'm not going to for now. But on online play controls are really, really sluggish, and I'm not sure why. So I'll give that a tentative. Actually, yeah, let's give it 3 chairs. I changed my mind.
All right, and as Ven was saying, like, the controls were flawless for me, like, and I'm rocking my little, Logitech.
You're the guy we make fun of who plays first-person shooters with a controller.
Well, I gotta test it. I gotta test the controller to see how it works.
Go eat some Doritos.
Yeah. But the mouse and keyboard, and phenomenal. Like, everything was just right there, like how I wanted it set. Like, it was just this version was a massive improvement for the controller setting to Borderlands 2. So I am giving it 4 chairs.
All right. And now our final subjective category.
How about we do a total for that? Because it's going to be 3 chairs.
3 chairs.
Head in the game, son.
I guess not. I'm losing grip on reality.
You're pulling a Sandy.
Oh, yeah. Right. Subjective category. Fun. Ben, did you have fun?
Fun. I'm coming at this from a very uncommon position because I have never played Borderlands 2, and it's only been a few weeks since that was put in my hand organs. This was not me revisiting an old friend from 2 years back on a new operating system. Not at all. For me, Borderlands 2 is, Borderlands 2 The Pre-Sequel is Borderlands 2 with a new gravity mechanic. Yes, butt slam is neat for about 5 fuck-mothering minutes. With an oxygen meter, that's more of an annoyance than an actual game mechanic. Really, there was never a time when I was running out of oxygen that I was panicking. I was like, oh, right, here, let me stroll all the way across the other mothering level and go get some more oxygen. But then again, I drink a lot, so blacking out periodically while walking is not uncommon. In fact, we might call that a Tuesday. Single player, it's just miserable. Bullet sponges are your enemies, and they'll nix you with a one-shot. Multiplayer is a bit more bearable. We tried that last night, but it's buggy, and it's buggy in the fun way because there's nothing game-breaking in that situation. It's just a bunch of little things that make you laugh. We'll have some video about that nonsense, and if you do have bugs, head over to Aspire, Seaman, and let them know. But ultimately, with the fun, I'm going to say it, unoriginal, poorly written, unfunny, buggy, DLC, repackaged as a 60 wet stinky game. So I'm going to give that 1 chair with an asteroid because I said, hey, this isn't, coming back. I was like, it's been so long since I played Borderlands 2. I was like, I just heard about Borderlands 2. This is just more of the same for me. J-Man, maybe you're going to help it out.
Yeah, no, I really think Linux gamers kind of got screwed with the timing of this because you get 2 Borderlands games within 2 weeks. And of course, we got to review it, so there's that. Like Ben said, for folks who played Borderlands 2 2 years ago, and then this game comes out, this is like visiting an old friend. It's like, hey, look, all this new stuff. I remember that. I had fun. However, I'm going to try and keep that in mind in my review and not judge that too harshly, because it's not the game's fault. It's Microsoft's fault. Damn you, Balmer! But as for my actual review of the game, there are a lot of enemies you have to deal with in single player, and they are just bullet sponges. So you basically just spend your time trying to find a good vantage point to cap these guys, and it gets a bit old. I thought Borderlands 2 did a really good job of mitigating the grindiness issue with Borderlands 1. But this is kind of a step backwards because the game does become a very, very, very huge grind very quickly. And that kind of bugs me. That's what turned me off the first game initially. So it's kind of bad, or it's sad to see that come back. Overall, I think it's fairly solid. Again, got screwed from the timing and could have really, really used some more variation in the quests. So I'm going to give that 2 chairs because I think that's fair. That's what it deserves. What about you, Sandy?
Well, unlike these 2 heathens, I enjoy the game. I love the story because it was
because
a story
you have
I was looking
Alzheimer's.
forward to. And so my big thing was that I came in with the idea of playing this for the story, which then made a very good point about, it being very much like a DLC, and it probably should have been added. And Linux gamers did get screwed because I think this game should have came out first, and then Borderlands 2 should have came out afterwards. Because this is a lot of... for people who are new to Borderlands, this would have been a better game for them if they started off with this game, then moved into Borderlands 2. And I am not a fan of the tutorial. If you're a previous Borderlands player and you first get in and it reads your old save files from the other Borderlands games, why the hell do I need a tutorial? I already
Because
know
you're
how to play the
stupid,
games.
Sandy.
Yeah, apparently I'm
Because you're
stupid. But overall, it's been a phenomenal port. Aspire did a great job porting the game over. So really, I'm giving it to them for it. And the fun, I'm still having fun. Like, I'm leveling like crazy. So I'm going to give it 3
you're 18 hours in right now?
More than that, I believe.
Anyways,
If
so
you had
that's
to give it
2
a
chairs
score.
for fun total. And so we tally that up,
So-
and our final score is 2 chairs, but we gotta throw an asteroid on that. Because this game got fucked by circumstance. It
Yes.
really did. That's really that's what the less than stellar score is. There were a lot of little things that aren't the game's fault, but still have to be judged accordingly. So, Ben, what are your final thoughts?
At the end of the day, take that shot. I hate to say this. This does not... I need to say this. This does not reflect poorly in any way, shape, form, or fashion to the guys and gals at Aspire, Seaman, you name it. But what this game is, I'm just going to tell you, it's an overpriced, low-gravity Borderlands 2 expansion pack. That's it. And if you buy the entire thing, and we bought this game, this wasn't given to us. This was not a handout thing. We wanted to kick the Aspire guys some wet stinkies for doing a fantastic job and keeping up the good fight. But if you buy everything together, you're looking at almost 100 wet stinky a pop, and I just don't see the value in that. And I think everyone said, I think Sandy, believe it or not, made a logical sentence and tied 2 words together for once. It might have been better if this had came out first than it was like, oh yeah, this, you can go back and play Borderlands 2, because this, within 2 weeks, just felt like, oh, look, it's a really overpriced version of what I just got done playing. Any last thoughts, guys?
No, I think that about wraps it up succinctly. Coming up next, we have some hate mail and some more plagiarism and some redacted. Coming up next.
Diggity down. And welcome back to normally our resident Mexican says something goofy and untangible, and I don't know. We take sympathy on the poor child because he has space Ebola this week. Hopefully he'll be back next week, but this is the hate mail section where we like to scream in your face, organs, but sometimes you get to scream back in ours. All you have to do is head over to LinuxGameCast.com, hit this contact button of awesomeness, and check it out. Crowdfunding campaigns. If you want to, for the love of flying spaghetti monster and everything unholy, do not contact us unless you have a working Linux build. But if you just want to scream at us, give us a name, email, subject, your message. Prove you're smarter than this little captcha down here, and this one down here, just to make sure you can do basic arithmetic. And Bob's your uncle. It's brilliant. Coming up first this week, old friend of the show, Monster C, Chairquisition. J-Man, tell me about it.
So Cameron says, do you guys even research your games? For fuck's sake, Jordan. And then he provides a link to the Nintendo eShop, 3DS eShop, and Ben for Shovel Knight, because apparently he didn't... Whatever, I'll get to that in a minute. And according Ben, concerning checkpoints, you aren't the only one to think about that issue. If you break the checkpoint, you lose it, but you gain a bonus. Yeah, so what actually happens is in Shovel Knight, if you don't want to if you want to do the one life thing, if you come across a checkpoint, you can break it, get a bunch of extra points, and move on, and not have to deal with that, which is good to know. But as for Cameron's preceding comment, to plagiarize my response from Chat Realm, you racist slut! I'm completely aware there's a 3DS version of Shovel Knight. I even brought it up in their review. I said, this isn't Linux 3DS cast, this is Linux Gamecast.
And what I want to bring up about those checkpoints, yes, I knew they were destructible. That wasn't my fucking issue. It was that they were there in the first place. That means that they thought about it and they said, no, we do have to still make it easy enough for your younger generation, Mr. C, that they have to tone it down. You don't want Nintendo. You wouldn't even be able to fuck with those games. Sandy, do you have nothing to say on any of this, do you? That's great. Coming up next.
The Bridge. This is from an anonymous cow.
Really, says, this isn't anonymous. This is genuinely the name and all that with an FTD email.
Nice. All right. So I think it will take way more than 70 hours to finish it. He's talking about The Bridge, by the way. Still stuck on Chapter 2, and I bought it almost 4 months ago. Of course, I'm not playing it very often. Also, the vortex sound is a bit annoying. Music is not immediately unbearable, but it's not enjoyable either. But it is 3 chairs plus 3 chairs plus 2 chairs, average 2 chairs. Because we don't fuck with decimals and we round down. Here's your answer.
All lies. Let me explain to you.
All right. Take me back then. Educate me.
The chairs are not of this world. We are only beginning to understand their ways. We only know our simple human ape maths, or wrong and dare not question these ascended beings who gifted us such advanced moon technology. All I can say to that, hallow all the chairs.
For those of you who are listening to this, he just showed a picture of one of the priors from Stargate SG-1, seasons 9 and 10. Sandy, thoughts?
Got no
not
thoughts.
A thought.
Well, all right. No, you attacked that. You attacked that question incorrectly. You asked the boy if he had a thought. Sandy, do you have anything to say?
I have nothing to say on the matter.
All right. And this last one came very, very close, but still can't read. They can maybe have that disorder that they can only read the first half of a sentence and not the second half. Who knows? But they say, "Hello, Linux Gamecast crew. We are a group of friends and professional game developers from different game companies working together in their spare time to create small indie games. 5 years in the making. We're only working only a few hours a month despite time zone and geographical differences. We're proud to announce the release of our new game, Redacted, because they did not make with the demo. They
keep on going. If you'd like to the game's key, please contact us at mail@redacted.com. Some links are launched to the official trailers here at http://redacted games website, redacted.com, and our Greenlighter page is available at
http://redacted.
So, you came really close, little buddy. If you want us to take a look at your game, which essentially is going to be a free plug, that's awesome. We love that. It's fantastic. We're very happy to do that, but we're at the point now that we have to pick and choose. We have so much junk coming in to us every week. And one of the ways I sort that before I hand it off to whoever is if there's keys in the notes. The game that's going to be very huge, Screen Sheet, those guys knew it. That message, let me make sure I'm reading this verbatim. We know there's 3 of you, but we're sending an extra one just for the full experience. I mean, they paid attention to the show, realized how many people were on it. So the whole generic, I would just throw them on the mailing list. If there's an extra step for us looking at your game, probably not a good idea. Do you think that's fair, J-Man?
I think that's incredibly fair.
How about you, S-Man?
Sandy?
Incredibly fair. Yeah. It's common sense.
Sandy, want a cracker?
Sandy, want a cracker?
Huh?
You want a cracker? Want some crack?
All right, on these multiple bombshells, let's cue the music and get this painful experience over with. Because at the end of the day, you can always find me at Vinstone, plus Vinstone on the internet, usually streaming live Saturday around 9:30 Eastern Moon Time. And my heterosexual life partner, Mr. Juan.
How's it going? I'm Jordan Spung. You can find me at The Burning Fool on Twitter, or plus Jordan Spung on the Google+. And, as always, our proud Canadian Armed Force.
And you can find me on the Twitter at Ultimagus. And if you want to find me on the Google+, you can find me at plus Sandy Martin. And also, you can check me out on rootgamer.com.
Kerplug.
I know, go plug. What? End of the day?
No, I was just saying, what can we finish this off with?
I don't know. What was that show title we came up with?
Super double penetration.
There's
All
nothing
right.
like super double penetration.
Sandy, we're gonna Eiffel Tower you.
Yeah.
Bend over.
God damn it. Fuck.
Seriously,
That's
beautiful
exactly
party
what's gonna
people,
happen.
die in a fire. We'll see you next week. That's Jordan. That's Sandy.
That's Ben.
And we're up. See, that was exactly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Of course. you just gotta steer. You gotta attempt to steer the train wreck. Try and catch as many civilians as possible.
Yeah, but somewhere like a quarter way into the news section, I was like, fuck it. It'll go wherever it's going.
Yeah.